is a legend of one man who persuaded his friends to watch every Godzilla movie ever made. This world is on the brink of destruction. We need you now, Godzillavangelists! Godzillavangelists, a Geek Stew Network podcast. Produced and hosted by Ryan Sargent. Featuring Sam Schlenker and Joanna Brodecki. Welcome to Godzillavangelists. I'm here one more time with my wonderful co-hosts Sam and Joanna. But I don't know how to feel because for the foreseeable future, this is the final episode of Godzillavangelists. How are you guys doing?
I feel pretty weird about it.
Yeah, this isn't like Destroya where for no real amount of time we think Godzilla's actually dead. Like we're actually killing the Evangelists for at least the foreseable future. And we're not doing any
you have to say
switches.
Killing, like
okay,
like pausing is like,
freezing,
or maybe like we accomplished the task, you know.
Well, we did,
it's
yeah.
like
Mission accomplished.
Phrasing.
We did it. What I'm saying is, I was using a metaphor that is that movie where Godzilla died, but like only for a moment, and then
remember
he was alive.
Remember when Ryan was like, "How did you guys feel about Godzilla dying?" And we were like, "Meh."
Yeah, it didn't help that we knew that there were a handful more movies after that. It does really take the sting off completely.
Yeah, it really.
But
does.
it was the end of that Godzilla.
Right.
You're famously your least favorite.
Yeah, you're right.
I can fully distinguish between all of them. That's an ability I have acquired.
It made the ranking more fun. Joanna's live ranking journey of going, oh, that was that. Oh, no, I had that at 34. Actually, no, that's my number 5 favorite. Now that I know which movie that is.
That is the best one we ever watched.
Yeah.
You guys, even when I went back afterwards to edit the list, I still had trouble being like, now what was the one with the 3 people on the beach that I really liked? I still couldn't crack the code on it.
The different ways you come up with to describe Godzilla versus the sea monster always amused me.
That's what it was.
There's a variety of them. Such a wide variety.
It wasn't Godzilla versus the Scooby-Doo vibes? That's my
yeah.
That's the American title.
Yeah.
That's exactly it.
Well, the plan for this episode is to share some of our favorite memories, and we have a few messages from previous guests and listeners that I'd love to read and reflect on. There'll be lots of reminiscing as we go along, but to start out, I have a shocking discovery that I made in listening to past episodes.
Oh my god, what?
So you guys probably remember that we did a different sort of rating system for the first few set of episodes.
We did? No, I don't remember that.
Oh, okay, well, maybe you even remember that we used to have more regular segments.
We did?
I actually don't remember this either. What did
you don't remember either of those things?
This is a good little trip down memory lane.
Well, great. We'll go through this first. We used to say, who would you recommend this movie to? That was our rating system.
Oh, that was a good one. Yeah.
And then we had the burning nuclear questions, where I would ask you guys a stupid question related to the movie of the day, and you would have to come up with an answer. Anyway. I'm guessing then that neither of you remembered this, because I didn't, that I used to say, keep following the word of Godzilla, instead of keep spreading the word of Godzilla. I did not remember that at all, and I was stunned when I heard it. I was like, when did I change that over, and why?
Well, you may not know that you did this, but effectively, you did an Old Testament to New Testament switch.
Yeah, that feels like what you did.
Yeah,
that does.
It's not
really
just
feel
following the tenets of Godzilla Evangelists. It's spreading. Yeah, there's a clear pivot point. What is the pivot point?
And I like it.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah, did you go back and listen to each one to see? Maybe there was a big life shift, like a personal change in life.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, we'll have to. I actually didn't do this, but we should pinpoint the episode where it changed over.
And that's what we'll reveal in the next episode that we do 5 years from now.
All right.
In the reunion episode.
So it's something to look forward to, and I'm going to for sure remember this whole conversation.
Oh, absolutely. You're going to have like a folded up yellowed piece of paper, even though it's only 5 years from now, and be like, I know, right? It's this episode.
Ryan, I thought you were going to say, based on our early days hiccups, I thought you were going to say, oh no, we published an episode that was missing an entire of one person's recording.
We never fucked up that bad.
It's shocking to me that we don't remember those early episodes, though, because a lot of those we recorded multiple times because one of us would always forget to record.
I'm going to blame that on the guests, okay?
It was the guests a few times, yes.
And also, it was mostly the guests. It was sometimes us, but mostly the guests. I remember the most cursed one was the Monster Zero Abira one we did with Todd. I think together we did 3 recordings, and then Sam and I did pickups, and Todd did pickups on his own. Oh
my God.
It was a nightmare.
Did you guys get paid union rates for that, or what? That's brutal.
And it didn't get edited until Julia had come on and like gotten her feet wet, and then somehow she managed to put that monster together.
I still don't remember that. I remember none of this. This feels like a different weird alternate timeline.
I feel like we had to re-record Rodan, right? That's like where part of my hatred stemmed from.
Yeah,
we re-recorded Rodan at least. We did at least 2 recordings of Rodan.
And how many watchings?
3.
3 watchings of Rodan.
What? Wait, why did we watch it 3 times?
Ask Ryan. I don't remember.
I don't know. Back then, I had such high standards. I'm not joking.
Yeah, I feel like
you guys got to be fresh on everything.
I feel like it was very precious in the early days when we would watch the movies together. So cute.
I really missed that. That was the one thing that I was like, damn, that really sucks that we couldn't keep doing it.
Yeah, that was precious.
Because we got good notes out of it. We'd like record things that people said or like reactions that happened in the room. So yeah, that was awesome.
That'll be for our 50th reunion.
Yeah.
All right, 50 years from now, we'll record
I'll mark it in my cal.
All right.
When we do a new ranking of all 96 Godzilla movies. Actually, wait a minute. It would be more than that, I think, if they just kept up the current pace.
They're like accelerating, I feel like. They're like blasting off right now.
I mean, it's hard to compete with back when they would put it out once a year.
Yeah.
I take it back.
96 is a lot.
No, but I think they are between, like, they're doing this movie here and this one here and this one's a TV show. I don't know. It feels pretty present in my life.
Now we've got America and Japan making dueling Godzillas.
Yeah.
That's true. That is going to boost the output a little bit. Just before we move off this tangent, my guess for the number of Godzilla movies 50 years from now, I'm going to go ahead and stake it as 51.
Total or?
Total.
What's the number at now?
38.
38.
Oh, more.
I'm going to say
for sure.
Just movies? Just movies?
I think we're going to have another Dark Age.
I'm going to say...
I'm predicting.
I'm going to... 50?
All right, that's a little low. I'll say 61.
I'm going to say... So, Sam, you go first.
I think that movies are going to be gone and no longer a thing as of like next year. And it'll be like there have been 210-second TikToks about Godzilla that the kids like.
Don't do this. This is already depressing enough.
Because no one has an attention span.
Musing about the death of the cinema.
It feels like it, doesn't it?
It's definitely going to not be good, but let's focus on the happy memories.
Yay!
I've got a message here from our good friend of the show, Brandon Jacobs, aka Up from the Depths. Many a Godzilla fan will tell you that being a fan of this long-running franchise can often be isolating. It may not be the case today, but back in my day, you'd be hard-pressed to find fellow devotees of the King of the Monsters. Perhaps there was a disconnect with the Japanese culture inherent to the films, or maybe your average Joe was turned off by their cheesy charm. Whatever the reason, sharing my passion for Godzilla with those unfamiliar with him often proved difficult and unyielding. Perhaps this is why I started my YouTube channel, but I digress. This urge to successfully share Godzilla with others is what initially drew me to your podcast. Podcasts about Godzilla by Godzilla know-it-alls are easy to come by, but the premise of a lifelong Godzilla fan introducing his two newbie friends to each and every installment of this very, very long franchise instantly made you stand out. So I took a chance and hit play on your discussion of the original Gojira, after which I became a fan. By the way, allow me to stand on my podium for a little bit. There are a bunch of podcasts that have this premise now, but to my knowledge, we were either the first or the second.
Yes!
Let's go.
Oh my god. The first or the second. Take that, everybody.
Because I remember researching them, and there was one that arguably had a similar premise.
Yeah.
It wasn't
But
quite
Ryan,
the same.
but which one is the funniest? No, I'm just kidding. No shade
That's
to
true.
the others. They're all
Probably
great.
them. Yeah, they're pretty funny. I remember watching
Damn
them
it.
so I could steal some of their ideas, and hilarious.
Anyway, Godzillavangelists allowed me to indulge in that fantasy of introducing and discussing Godzilla films with others less informed on the franchise, and this led to many insightful and hilarious moments. Ryan, Sam, and Joanna have great chemistry, and your friendship was apparent from the very start. I always got a kick out of hearing your unique perspectives, which is why I was thrilled and flattered to be invited on to discuss my personal favorite of the series, Godzilla vs. Biollante, and later, Godzilla vs. Destroya. I've been on a few podcasts, and yours was my favorite experience, hands down. Aw.
Wait, that's so sweet.
So to Brian, Sam, and Joanna, it was a joy to listen to you as you descended down the fascinating and bizarre rabbit hole that is the Godzilla franchise, and an even greater joy to be one of your guests. Thanks for the good times. Fan and friend of the show, Brandon.
Oh my god, that was
That's-
such a lovely message.
Is
So sweet.
is this
Yeah,
podcast
and
gonna
I'm
be
so
this
glad to
sweet?
have it.
Like, because
Yeah,
I don't
Sam
know,
can't take
I
it.
don't know if I can take this.
I think there could be some more sugary messages coming, yeah.
Oh my god. No, that was really, and also I feel like for all the guests, just everyone who hopped onto the rodeo, whether they knew a ton about Godzilla and were able to share their knowledge, or whether they got Godzilla confused with King Kong and just, came along for the ride anyway.
I love
It was so fun.
crazy dichotomy of guests we had between Brandon,
Yes.
who like has like probably, I'm assuming, written essays about Godzilla, like, and I'm talking like peer-reviewed essays, and then we have some of Joanna's friends who have been on, who come onto the show and are like, I thought Godzilla was a monkey, and like that's incredible.
And everyone in between.
Yeah,
And everyone in between.
Yeah. Speaking of Fiona, here's our next message. Dear Godzillavangelists, 1. As you know, Godzillavangelists, as both podcast and philosophy of life, is wildly successful. Thank you for this flattering, untrue fact. Not merely popular, it's beloved. As with any program having these credentials, a spin-off show is, well, a no-brainer. To my mind, the choice of head hosts to spearhead and take ownership of this new show is patently obvious. For many reasons, creative and practical, these new hosts simply must be Joanna, Charlotte, and Fiona. Topic or subject? That's up to them. What do you say to that, Joanna? Are you going to create a spin-off Godzillavangelists with this cast?
Do they want us to pivot to Grey's Anatomy, which has also already been done? Wait, I could do one about Chapel Roan any day. Okay, what is the world of spin-off universe? How far can we stretch it?
I think it has to be at least distantly related to giant monsters. Speaking of Sam, here's point number 2 on this message.
Oh no.
I'm about to point something out to you that, once known, will forever be impossible to ignore.
What?
Will, in fact, call attention to itself. You will be unable to not hear it. In nearly every instance, when Sam is making an argument, be it brief or sustained, facetious or indignant, he will, at some point, emphasize his point by saying, "If I'm being totally honest." And it's true. In listening back to these episodes, I can't not hear it now.
If I'm being totally honest right now, I listen back to episodes every once in a while, and I am horrified by how bad of a speaker I am, and how many filler words I use, how many clauses and phrases I repeat. So yeah, no, that doesn't surprise me at all.
Yeah, I hate how much of a laugher I am. I'm just having too much of a good time. I'm sorry.
You guys,
that is
quit
not a
being down
bad
on
thing.
yourself.
I hate how much fun I have after I'm like, I sound like the dumbest person in the whole world when I hear my voice back.
No, you don't. Don't be mean to yourself.
Don't be mean.
And this is the time we can all. Now we're reminiscing. 8 years in. No. I'm
God.
joking. Although I'm sure I do say that a lot. So sorry about that, everyone.
Yes. If I'm being totally honest, you do, but it's okay. Point number 3. Joanna, Charlotte, and Fiona. So it is written, so shall it be done.
We'll make it happen. If I can.
If you do it, you got to have me on as a guest, though. That's my only requirement.
1,000,000%. I kind of do want to do the Spielberg thing now, but with y'all. But anyways, that's a topic for another time.
Yeah, and then I have another batch down the road. But for this batch, I just have one last little one. Can't believe it's ending. It's been an amazing and lengthy journey. That message is from Big Texas Butters on Instagram.
Yay.
Which is a great
Butters.
It's a great name. And also, I love the specifics in the note. It's so good. Thank you for sharing. And I'll keep you posted if I'm able to wrangle the other two on. No, Ryan, if I led a pod, though, I'd have to be the cat wrangler. And
Yeah.
sounds like a lot of work.
Always the cat, never the wrangler. As they say.
Exactly. That's my motto.
Yeah. You got to have the best tuna to bait these cats.
I was thinking about what my favorite episodes were. My memories, my favorite episodes to record. And the one with Fiona where we covered Gamera versus... what was... I wrote this down. I'm so sorry. The one with the big hammerhead shark guy. Gamera versus
Giron.
Giron, and then the 90s Gamera movie. One of my favorite episode experiences. And Fiona's awesome. Not just because she says nice things about
You
us.
guys, quit giving her compliments, okay? I'm going to have to never share these with her or the ego is going to get more inflated.
Good point.
Just kidding. She is the best, and that's why I'm proud to call her my best friend.
Yeah, we've had so many great guests. Fiona's certainly among them. I have some more specific stuff on these later, but two of the funniest people I know. I'm Ed Atlin, and so says Jarvis. I was so glad. I was truly tickled I got to have them on, as well as Mary Jo Peele from Mystery Science Theater. All of them such funny people, and I know they were all nervous to be on the show, but I don't know why, because they're all great. And then Ed, always sneaky funny. Fiona and Natalie, both great, somewhat late additions to the roster.
Also, I got to give a shout out to the Gamera movies too, because like they were doing part of the work in that. You know, there's just so much fun
True.
to be had with those ones too. I would also like to mention that the episode that we did where Mac was judging our crossover films that we created, I thought that was so fun. And like, I think if we ever are doing a reunion thing, that would definitely be something so fun to bring back well too. And I gotta say, like, that I think there were some solid ideas out of that one.
That is arguably my favorite episode.
It's
Wow,
so
really?
good.
That was really
It's-
fun.
It was awesome. You did a great job setting it up, Sam, and editing it as well. And
Yeah.
yeah, it was just a great time. Lil was super funny. Mac is super funny. I hope we get a chance for her to pop on later, but she's always been considered to me the fourth Godzilla-Evangelist.
Yeah.
So anytime she got to make it on here was truly a joy. Just meshed right in, no issues at all.
If we,
Which I guess makes sense, considering we're two. I'm an old friend of hers, and you're her man,
I'm also
so.
an old friend of hers. Yeah, no, we're pretty good chums, she and I. No, it is unsurprising. I'm not surprised at all that she just
No.
has. It's easy. She just can come on and be, and
Nail it.
Godzilla Evangelist it up. I was going to say, if we did another one of those, because when I said we were killing the podcast earlier, I purely meant in the Destroy Us sort of way, in that it won't really be dead. So my question
And he
is,
said it wouldn't be in the Destroy Away, but now he's backtracking.
I'm
backtracking.
backtracking. Well, now that I'm remembering how much
He just
fun it
wanted the
was.
dramatic. Yeah,
Yeah,
he wanted the dramatic effect.
No, again, in the same way that we advertised Destroya by saying Godzilla dies,
Right.
and then pretty quickly they're
Right.
like, but here's this obvious Godzilla replacement, who is just also Godzilla, kind of. My point is, if we did another one of those, what would the what would it cross over with?
Steven Spielberg films.
A Spielberg plus Godzilla. Did Spielberg, wasn't he a fan of Godzilla? So doesn't this kind of work out beautifully?
Yeah, and
works.
we can do it in 50 years after I watch all the Spielberg movies.
Well, you know what I'd advocate for, which is the Godzilla Muppets crossover. But,
So that would be another good one. I also really liked our fan fiction episode. Like, I think
yeah,
anytime
doing another fan fiction one would be great, especially one where Sam can join in.
Yeah, like the whole pod was fun, but when we got to like play around with the ideas tangentially related to the series, that was, I feel like, always very special. And I do also want to give a shout out, if Ryan will let me air it, or maybe we have already aired this before, but I'd like to give a special shout out to when I came on to record and realized about 10 minutes in that I did not, in fact, watch the material that I was supposed to watch. and just improv'd my way through that section. I was like 2 minutes into talking about it, was like, wait, guys, can we pause? I did not watch this. And then just nodded and Googled along enough to maybe get by.
Honestly,
Which
I
one
was
was
so
this?
impressed. That was Ultraman.
Oh,
I was impressed with how
ones to
you
not
played
watch.
along. Well, no, Joanna watched the movie, but she didn't realize she was supposed to watch 2 episodes of the old
Of a
show.
TV show. Yeah.
Oh no. Okay, no, those are great. Yeah. Okay, never mind.
Yeah.
No, that you missed the good stuff.
I missed the good stuff, but I'm glad that we just, we met in an improv class, so why not just play pretend?
Speaking of memories I don't want to bring back, our terrible improvs from the first few episodes.
I thought we kept bringing those into all of them. I feel like we did that for longer than the first few episodes.
We
didn't
did it for longer than we should have. I think there's exactly one that I still laugh at, and the rest I'm just like clenching my teeth until they're over. So if you like them, tell me
More
help
power
me
to
feel
you.
better about this.
Wait. Okay, two things. For one, I do think that none of us warmed up or anything. We just started recording, at home.
Yeah, we just went into it cold.
When it's super cold, and then Ryan was like, all right, we're doing an improv. Sam, what's that crazy hat you're wearing? And it was just like, I got it at the ball game. Like, it was so bad. My question is, you say there was a funny one. What was that?
Yeah. What was that? Yeah.
The opening for King Kong versus Godzilla is pretty good, actually. Although that's just because it's like a funny, depressing story.
But Ryan,
reenacting.
you say that as if we know what the improv
Yeah.
was. Like
it was when Willis O'Brien came in to pitch his King Kong movie, and John Beck basically stole it and took it to Toho and turned it into King Kong versus Godzilla.
And who did we improvise as?
I was Willis O'Brien, Sam was John Beck, and you were all the other characters on the CNJ.
Fascinating. So what he's saying is I was the weak link in all the other improv examples.
I don't think that's the case.
No,
And
that's not what I was
And once
saying.
I was sidebarred, it got a lot better.
the one of us who actually performs on stage and can act is not the weak link, I don't think.
I'm the weak link.
No.
Which one
My
is
best
the weak
work
link?
is live fake object work in improv, So it's not the words.
No, pretty sure that, as I remember, Joanna was a very good improviser, and I just said, if I'm being honest, a lot. That was all I said at the UCB.
I miss UCB.
Me too. If only they didn't take so much money from us.
Yeah.
But speaking of games, we've always done games on this show, and at first they were just kind of silly questions, and then later they became their own episodes, as we were just talking about. There's been kind of an ebb and wane, but I wanted to play one last game with you guys.
Oh my god,
Are you
now I'm
down for this?
nervous. I'm down, but now I'm stressed.
All right. Don't be stressed. So, in an early episode, I think it was Ghidra, we had a playful debate about who would play a Godzilla in a sort of alternate reality where it was a sitcom, and they were all like sitcom actors. And so now I come to you. We're going to try to do the full premise and cast of the Godzilla sitcom. So I have a list of classic sitcom roles here, and I need you to fill them up with a Godzilla monster and a human actor to play them, and the premise to tie it together.
What do we think about Will Arnett as Godzilla?
I can see it. How's he playing it?
He just rides up on a Segway and goes,
Kinda-
Mothra.
Yeah. Yeah. He's like kind of grumpy about it.
See,
He's like a grumpy Godzilla who's trying to get his life together.
You picture
I can see
Mothra,
that.
or sorry, Godzilla as being younger than I do, because I've always had John Goodman in my head.
Oh, that's a good one too.
That's what you said the first time.
Really?
I'm glad there's consistency.
Man, yeah, no, I am pretty consistent.
John Goodman, he's got a type. He's Godzilla, that's his essence.
I had initially said Hannibal Buress. I've changed my mind on this. Not that I think he would be a bad Godzilla, but yeah, I think we would need to resurrect Ed Asner to be Godzilla.
Ooh, that would be good.
Yeah.
I actually, you know what? Will Arnett as Godzilla is interesting, and it seems like a more likely TV show. I'm kind of down to just roll with that. Have that be the starting point here.
Okay. Yeah, I can do it. It feels like a good cheesy sitcom, like the guy trying to put his life back together.
Exactly.
All right. So which monster is the best friend character?
Mothra. They have a real Sam and
you think
Diane
so?
thing going on.
Okay, so
what
she's
kind of
like
best friend?
the put together
Friend.
This is like the reliable best friend character. So They don't
Yeah,
necessarily
yeah.
have to be put together, but that's an option.
I mean, yeah, this is the would they, wouldn't they friend. Like, this is the
Right.
this is Julia Louis-Dreyfus from Seinfeld, and we haven't the George Costanza character has got to be oh no, Angelus.
Angelus. Yeah,
Angelus.
that makes sense.
And can that just be Jason Alexander?
Just Jason Alexander again, yeah.
Yeah. I would say, well, I guess let's pick the monster first, and then we can cast it. For the reliable best friend would probably be Jet Jaguar, but I don't really know that warrants like a leading role.
No, I think that's a little bit optimistic on your part for Jet Jaguar.
Okay, I was trying to be honest about it. I might have been overselling.
If Joanna was making the sitcom, it would be Jet Jaguar second build.
Well, Gamera would for sure be in there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Gamera doesn't work with Godzilla. They have a bad working relationship.
God damn it, you guys! You're not letting my creative ideas flow. Okay, let the magic happen.
I'm just being honest. They're not going to do a weekly with each other.
I mean, are you gonna say Mothra, Ryan? Let's just say it, right?
I mean, it's either Mothra or it's Angelus. Those are the two options. Are we going put together like flirtatious relationship, or are we doing like, oh, this guy is like scrappy and kind of doofy, but he's loyal?
I think both characters exist in this show.
Yeah, both.
Okay, all right, we'll put them both together. Yeah, that works.
And I would like to cast Amy Poehler, but her and Will Arnett are exes, so I don't know about that.
Perfect. Use it.
Might have to think about it.
That's
Use
that's
it.
the whole thing.
Use it. Because she would make a great Mothra in this sitcom, I think.
I think she's a little abrasive.
What?
Excuse me?
What? Have you seen Parks and Rec?
Leslie is nice, but she's abrasive. We need someone who's like a little more mellow.
Like who?
Because Angelus is going to be the abrasive one for sure. We could have Amy Poehler as Angelus. I'm okay with that.
No, but who would be playing Mothra? Because now I gotta know. Because I'm like Julia Louis-Dreyfus, Aubrey. There are so many more people who are more abrasive. Now I'm
Let's
also
see.
looking up Amy Poehler and Will Arnett's relationship time. They were together a long time, you guys. This could be some drama on the set.
It's intriguing. There's no doubt about that. I'm gonna put in a vote for. I gotta look up her name real quick.
Clearly, a household name. You're not selling me on this sitcom here. If you can't even remember the lead actress's
Look,
name.
they don't all have to be A-listers.
Can I ask a question?
Juno Temple, great Mothra choice. Saw her in Fargo and Ted Lasso. Total versatile. The whole package.
She gives Mothra vibes.
Yeah, for sure. Especially in Fargo, because both like she did in Fargo, she plays this dual role where she has this life she built as like a loving mother running the household, but she has this past where she's had to escape like this terrible situation, and she's like a stone cold killer when she needs to be. So that's what's putting me in the head that she can do it.
But is she
also,
but is she sitcom? I feel like that's a different.
Well, she
vibe.
was in Ted Lasso though, so that's why I know she can do sitcom as well. She's got it all.
We'll think on it.
We'll have to see if she can do a self tape.
Yeah,
Maybe
exactly.
That'll convince you. Okay.
Does Godzilla have an evil boss that is Ghidorah?
Yes.
I do have authority figure on this list. I didn't want
yeah.
it to have to be a boss, but totally, yeah.
I think
Ghidorah
evil-
can be.
If it's Will Arnett, it has to be the evil boss. Yeah.
And this is the role
So what?
that can be a movie actor, like an older movie actor, who is kind of like it's the with blank in the credits. You know, it's like he's doing a TV.
Oh yeah,
show.
it comes at right
Yeah,
at the
yeah.
end.
It's like someone who's actually a bigger deal and is doing a TV show as a supporting role.
I think it's Will Ferrell, maybe. He always is playing these silly bad guys. He's Mr. Mattel himself.
Here's the thing. I think we need 3 people. We need the 3 heads.
Oh my god.
of Ghidorah.
Oh, that's good. Will Ferrell, we put Amy Poehler in here, okay?
Okay.
And Bill Hayes.
So,
Perfect. I'm on board.
That's incredible.
yeah, three of them. That's great.
Just sitting in a giant suit with
Yeah.
the shoulder pads out to here.
Like the knight
Yeah.
from Monty Python and the Holy Grail with 3 heads.
Yes.
Oh my god.
We need a wacky neighbor. Who plays the wacky neighbor character?
Well, first let's pick the monster, because then we can go from there.
Right.
Is this King Kong?
Hedorah is an option. King Kong, maybe. Always drunk.
No, King Kong's got to be a little more front and center. Maybe a buddy.
Maybe he's his work rival, King Kong.
Yeah.
He's the Newman.
And
We're doing Seinfeld parallels.
It's tough though because like you want the I'm getting way too into this. You want his work rival, I think, to be more put together than King Kong. Like King Kong is the Barney Gumble from The Simpsons, like level of drunk. Like,
Oh, you're going full drunk.
Yeah.
Skunky Kong.
yeah,
Okay.
King Kong. I'm sorry, Godzilla series King Kong is drunk Skunky Kong.
yeah, that's true.
Well, Monsterverse is the other option, so I didn't know which one you were going with. But yeah, Kong should definitely be wacky neighbor if we're going with the high on berry juice version.
That's where I'm thinking.
Okay. I'm totally on board for that. Alternatively, I have here the role of Butt Monkey, the character who's always getting dumped on, and that could also be King Kong.
Well,
trashed on berry juice.
And that could also be Angelus as well.
That's also true. We got a lot of roles in flux here.
And can we just? I know I'm just skipping over several cast members, but you know how when sitcoms start running low on ideas and then they throw in like a kind of gimmick character to try to spice it up, usually right before the show goes under. That's Minya. That's like the cousin, one of the cousins
Yeah.
from the 90s show. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. He's the great
Minya's
Gazoo,
the last season.
Great Gazoo from the Flintstones.
Yeah, Batgirl, last season of Batman. Although Batgirl is awesome, but it was still that type of character.
Yeah. So it's like,
And it's who would play Minya?
It would have to be like an adorable, precocious child actor who's seen a good kid actor lately.
Oh, there's
Jacob Tremblay, who's I think grown now.
I'm pretty sure he's like 14 now.
yeah.
I think he's older than that.
Probably. I don't know. All the kid actors I've seen lately have sucked. So,
Well, also, I think it can be someone older and they're in kid face.
I think an adult. Yeah.
oh, it could be like a. Now this is not going to make sense to anyone, but it could be like a Mork and Mindy thing where they had a kid, but the Morkins aged backwards, so it was Jonathan Winters playing the baby,
I like this.
or maybe. Or maybe it's like a Monty Burns, Rodney Dangerfield situation where he's just like the apple that fell far from the tree. And he's like, "Hey, Dad, I'm back."
It's a pretty good running.
Right.
It's
you
just
are-
Rodney Dangerfield. Like-
You are throwing out references that are right over my head. But I
All
can't
right,
wait
well-
to investigate them after the show.
Yes,
You know what?
please
can
do.
Can I just?
Um,
can we just go Michael Cera, current Michael Cera? As,
I was gonna say Michael Cera. Yes, I was gonna say
Hey, Dad.
Michael Cera
Yeah, all
as
right,
Alan. Come on, it's gotta be him.
please. Yeah,
And-
okay.
And this is good because I wanted at minimum 2 Arrested Development cast members
That's
to
right.
be in this sitcom. So this is important to me. And then can we have Liza Minnelli for a guest star every now and again? Because man, she's
We're just
fun.
doing the full Arrested Development.
Yeah. Instead
Mine
of
is Jeffrey Tambor.
instead of season 5, it's just actually they reboot it as the Godzilla sitcom.
That's the Godzilla show. Now, whoever is the more chill one between Anguillus and King Kong, that should be Hannibal Buress.
He should be Anguillus. Yeah, please do. Hannibal Buress is Anguillus. And Anguillus, because you know what, we make fun of Anguillus on this show for being like Godzilla's his best friend and he's Godzilla's 5th best friend. But like, I think Anguillus is a loyal, chill friend. Like, he's chill. He's the chillest of the monsters. He had a buzzsaw to the face, and he was like, I think that's...
He kept tanking.
Yeah, he did. Yeah. I think that's got to be Hannibal Buress.
You guys, I do want you to hear me out. I think Julia Louis-Dreyfus could play a great drunk King Kong neighbor. If given the opportunity, I think she could fucking nail it.
Just off the novelty alone, I'm sold.
You know she would nail it. Okay, so then I feel like this is a pretty rounded out cast. We got what? We got Will Arnett. Or no, are there still more? Are there more?
No, I think we've captured the basic.
Okay, can you read back the cast to us in their characters?
All right, so we got our central character, Will Arnett as Godzilla, trying to put his life back together.
Yes.
The chill, but kind of underdog best friend, Anguillus, Hannibal Buress. King Kong is the wacky neighbor, played by Julia Louis-Dreyfus. King Ghidorah is Godzilla's boss, the authority figure, played by Will Arnett, Amy Poehler, and Bill Hader in a giant suit. Minya is the add-in character in the last season, who's played by Michael Cera.
This sounds like a great show.
I'd watch it instantly.
Why
now, we
have
just need a premise. What? How do we tie this all together?
I thought for a sitcom, all you really need is a guy's kind of got to get his life together.
we gotta have at least some bare bones to build it on. What's Godzilla's job? Where is he working in this new situation?
Oh man, I put all my good ideas into the casting, Ryan.
He's in like construction of buildings, but he keeps crushing them. And there's
he keeps knocking them over.
Yeah, that's the whole thing. Is he's just trying to not crush the buildings. And by the way, it doesn't help that Julia Louis-Dreyfus keeps crushing all the buildings drunkenly, making his life harder.
Right. Yeah. Has to keep her away from his work.
Yeah, he inherited he's putting his life back together, so it can't be his business.
Oh, and Juno Temple is Mothra. Almost forgot to throw that out there.
Oh,
I saw the self-tape. It was brilliant.
Right. I'll let it slide because you're giving me JLD for King Kong.
Okay. What if Godzilla's got a bad reputation, and so he starts volunteering in a soup kitchen, and that's where he meets Mothra? That's the secondary location. We have the construction site, and then we have the soup kitchen, and then we have at home, his crappy apartment.
I like it.
Yeah.
Easy. 3 sets. All we need is 1 soundstage.
All you need. Sold.
Brilliant. Thank you guys for playing that game with me. I enjoyed it.
Yay.
All right. Next, I've pulled together some clips, some of my favorite highlights that I either just stuck out to me, or when I was re-listening to episodes, I found myself laughing at. So I'm going to go ahead and... Oh wait, hold on. Let me set this up as a playlist, and then I'll share my app with you guys, because otherwise I'll have to restart the stream every single time I play a new one.
I'm nervous.
Don't be nervous.
Okay.
So, this is off the record stuff, but feel free to like ask me to play it again. Feel free to talk while it's playing. All of these are less than 4 minutes, most of them less than 3. And if you just happen to have no reaction other than, oh, that was good, I remember that finally, that's fine. We'll just leave it out of the edit.
Okay.
This is the most meta that this podcast or any podcast will ever be.
Yeah.
By the way.
Wait, where do I go to listen? Am I in the right
I know,
place?
sorry, my app was acting up. There you go.
Here's where
Oh, great. Okay.
we podcast. We're Godzillavangelists right now, and we podcast about our podcast about Godzilla.
It's like, isn't this that? Doesn't Bo Burnham do this in his with the video, or isn't there a meta? Anyways,
This is the Bo
Let's roll.
This is the Burnhamiest we're ever gonna get.
I've seen this done before. I mean, really, what is this but a clip show? Speaking of sitcoms, okay, so this first one.
so I can react lightly throughout if I'd like, but
Yeah.
I also can react after.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
So this first clip, because Sam actually didn't remember it, which I was shocked, because this was like a running joke for our first 12 episodes or something. This was a discovery we made when watching Gigantus the Fire Monster. That was
No
both
clue what that
disturbing
movie
and
is.
hilarious. Fish pilots. Pleasing a woman is like swimming the ocean.
Oh no!
Oh, yeah,
Is this
Banana
Child
Man.
Bride?
Oh no.
No.
Let's listen, shall we?
Oh no.
I don't know, because then like half of her character arc was like, "Ooh, show me the picture of the girl," you know.
That's
Like, that was
true.
fun.
But when you see the picture of the girl and the girl's age, it seems like she was right to ask about it.
It's just the pigtails.
All right, so let me explain this a little bit. So their party is interrupted when they get the message that Godzilla has sunk some of their fishing boats. And so the next day, Kobayashi's like, I'm going out to look for Godzilla. Hold on to my book for me. Or I don't know, maybe he leaves it by accident. I think he leaves it by accident, actually.
Supposedly.
And Hidemi opens it, and the picture makes me a little bit uncomfortable. I don't know about you guys.
It's
me
a
feel
picture
funny.
of what's his name again? Kobayashi?
Yeah.
Kobayashi. It has two pictures in the middle of the book, and it's Kobayashi in his big old Fred Flintstone and his big Fred Flintstone face, and a picture of, like, I swear, an 11-year-old girl with pigtails.
Yeah.
And that is supposedly the love that he hopes to someday ask out, someday marry.
Yeah, in 7 years, yeah.
I don't think he's willing to wait 7
You
years.
guys, when my brother first moved to Japan, he was dating a woman for about 2 months, and they just never discussed their age, apparently, over the course of 2 months. And then eventually things ended, and he found out that she was 37 and he was 24 at the time, and not that he just like thought she was like 26, and she thought that he was like 35 or 38. And she had been like divorced once. He's like, I literally thought she had like gotten out of school a few years before. And, like, I'm like, how'd you date for that long? But yeah,
Wow.
just as far as
That
age.
so who knows? Maybe Kobayashi's girlfriend is like 40, and we just don't know. She just likes.
Or younger than we thought.
She's either 40 or 4. Definitely nothing in between.
Sam, you were remembering it correctly.
Yeah.
You nailed it.
Wow. How could you forget something as scandalous as that? I like that
I forgot
That's a
about
great
that.
question.
Joanna, your brother was once just a story on the podcast and became a guest.
A real guest. And now that's wild. That was, yeah, wow. So long ago.
I know. I wish I'd remembered that story. I would have asked him about it on the podcast.
The pigtailed photo. I wonder if that was a joke. Well, no, it's not really a joke because it's creepy. I just know sometimes, like, yeah.
It doesn't make any sense to me. Apparently, the reveal is that he was in love with Hidemi, his best friend's girl, and that's a picture of her. I guess from her school days, but that's just like doubly weird.
Yeah, when people ask to see a photo of my wife, Mac, former guest, I always show a photo from her 3rd grade soccer team.
Right.
And like, I mean, we
and then let them keep it.
Yeah, and then let them keep it. But like, because we met as adults. Like, there's nothing untoward. I didn't know her at that age, but that is her.
Right.
That's all I'm saying. So maybe it's one of those.
That's yeah, exactly. That's probably what it is.
Next clip here was just a fun discussion we had in the Ghidorah episode with Todd, where I mentioned that for the first time, and one of the very few times, there was a recurring character in the movie. It was the same boring professor in Ghidorah that was in Mothra vs. Godzilla. And we mused on his unusual specialty. Then we've got her boyfriend, maybe, Professor Miura, who is a rare case of the same actor playing the same character in this series of movies. I didn't know that. I thought he played a different emotionless scientist in each of these movies, but he's actually the same character as Mothra versus Godzilla.
Oh, it's the same name.
Yeah.
They found the need to bring someone so unremarkable back, and then all these interesting characters. They're like, don't know if audience can deal with.
I liked
this
his
much
orange
interest.
jacket. I liked all their outdoor gear. It really made me want to go for a hike.
Yeah. I also want to know what he studies, that he's an expert in both giant eggs and meteorites. That they can call him in for both of them.
Well, this is the moment. This is the moment he was waiting for. Like the crossover. It's like when people create their own major. He hadn't ever been able to explain why meteorite and egg studies could actually intersect until right now. That's, I think, why he's so interested.
Listen, man, he studies Gaia. Okay, the Earth is an egg.
Wow, I have no memory of this. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's Todd just caps that off perfect.
Yes.
Yeah, I think of that all the time. The Earth is an egg, man.
It was very kind of him.
And also,
to
I have a
button that, by the way. I have no idea where we're
such a
headed.
nice little button.
I know. Very kind of him to come in and clean up our messes for us.
Save it.
I thought your joke was good too. I just thought he was like, boom. It's perfect little pithy closer on that.
I do remember that moment, like, but not really the scientist.
That's okay. As Sam said, sarcastically, not the most memorable character.
Is that the only?
Next we have.
Is that the only recurring character? No.
Mm-mm.
No. Later on, obviously, you had Miki Sagusa.
Oh, of course.
And there were more, but that in the original Showa series, that was one of a very few that was legitimately the same actor playing the same character. The Peanuts, of course, is the fairies.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, not very often. Next, we have Mac and Joanna teaming up to bring Sarah Jessica Parker to the world of Godzilla 98.
Oh my god, yay.
I feel like they wanted to cast Sarah Jessica Parker and couldn't get her,
Yeah.
and then just cast someone and dressed her like Carrie Bradshaw, gave her the curly hair, the weird, retro vintage clothes.
Right.
What's weird is every
And
time...
I wondered, she's thinking that as she's walking around.
Yes.
That sounds great. I would.
Was Godzilla really pregnant and I don't even have a boyfriend? flashing cursor.
Is a man pregnant before I am? Yes. So
Will I be alone forever?
The answer is yes if you keep behaving any way you do in this movie.
She sucked. Agreed. All right. So
Damn, they should have cast SJP.
Yeah, that would have been better.
They would have had way more chemistry.
Almost anyone would have been better than who they did.
I stand by the scene of the two of them. I think flirting, and I think it's in the kind of convenience store. Is it a convenience store or like a
in the pharmacy?
Yeah.
When she walks in and he has the million pregnancy tests.
That is still maybe the clumsiest romantic scene I've ever seen, or like flirting scene. Like, it's crazy. I think about that. I honestly have forgotten a lot of parts of that movie, but it's like the dock, the planks of the dock firing up into the air as Godzilla approaches the fishermen, and it's the flirting scene in the pharmacy. Those two are what stick out to me.
I mean, it is so heinous that when we did our live show and we had a tiny clip of it, people laughed so hard at it just because it was so incredibly awkward.
Imagine if they had tried to do like a Before Sunset with just those two. That would have been brutal.
I would have killed myself before we got through the second movie.
We wouldn't have gotten before midnight or sunrise, whatever the other ones are. They wouldn't have had them.
No, definitely not.
They just never get off the train together.
Yeah. It's 2 minute long film. That's it.
Next clip I got is a little bit different. When we had Melinda on, and she performed some Godzilla songs for us, and I'm sad we never did get her back. She's a busy lady, always up to fun stuff, but I'd like to play her performance of Silent Springs again, just because it's so good.
Wow.
So sweet.
That is
one of
so
my favorite songs.
Peaceful and calming and like a little sad in the tone of it. Yeah, it's really, really beautiful.
Yeah. One of my favorite songs, period. Beautiful Akira Ifukube composition. And Linda did it so well. I just wanted to share that one more time.
Yeah, that was great to share. I hope she's doing well.
Yes.
Which one was she on?
Last I heard, definitely. That was Mothra versus Godzilla.
Controversial episode on this podcast.
A controversial episode, for sure. The closest we got to a legitimate argument. Except maybe the Return of the Jedi one. But both interesting debates. Now we have a total tonal swerve with a different guest. This is from our Destroy All Monsters 3rd anniversary spectacular. This is Ed Allen's segment in particular. And my question for you is, if there was like a piece of that montage where one of the monsters was attacking Australia, which monster do you think it would be, and what famous landmark would it be tearing down?
It would be the baby Godzilla, just because he's my favorite.
Ryan, you have... oh my gosh.
As for which Australian landmark, I want to pick one that doesn't get used in cinema as much as the Sydney Opera House.
Right.
Because that's the obvious one. There's a great landmark in Queensland called the Big Pineapple. You can Google it if you want to see.
Googling now.
It is what it sounds like, and I would love to see that baby Godzilla run up and just start chomping on it.
That would be amazing. Oh, and I'm just seeing this in my research. There's actually a deleted scene where that does happen, and I'd actually like to hear the dub for that particular scene too.
Oh, you're right. I have
You
that.
have it?
Yeah, I have that clip right here.
All right, go ahead and play that one real quick.
Oh, I want to put this pineapple on a pizza. Oh.
Okay, if you Google it, the Australia Queensland Big Pine, it's worth another Google.
Shout out to the Queensland pineapple.
Here's an engagement photo in front of it. Wow. They do need this in cinema more often.
Sam, you still with us?
I'm still with us.
Okay.
What are our thoughts on pineapple pizza? This is it's
delicious.
A controversial topic. Joanna says delicious. Ryan?
I am not a fan. I do like pineapple on savory things, though, so I can see the appeal.
All right,
Sam?
we'll give it to you. I also like it.
Tiebreaker?
I like it.
I think it's quite good.
People get weird about pineapple on pizza. Like, they got to chill out. Like, even if you don't like it, like, come on. Like, it's not that crazy.
Right. It should be no different than, like, I don't like a mushroom on my pizza. You know what I mean? It should just live in the same wheelhouse. Like, no need to go crazy.
So,
right. It's not insane. If you can have pineapple fried chicken, which is great, pineapple fried rice, it's not a huge jump to pizza.
On your mushroom topic, Joanna, I went to dinner with Mac for our anniversary. Our chum anniversary, because we're chums.
Chumiversary.
Chumiversary. We went to an Italian restaurant that's very good, and there was a table beside us, and their conversations I kept catching pieces of them, and I kept looking over, because it, like, honestly shouldn't have been. I was being very conspicuous that I just kept looking and being like, what on earth are these people talking about? Because they were so funny. And at one point, they're trying to order an appetizer, and one of the people goes, oh yeah, I was thinking about getting this one appetizer. Is everybody here okay with mushrooms? And this one girl goes, no. And then I looked over, and not even the one who said no, but I mean, I just couldn't help myself. That was such a funny response. And then
you have to.
I had to. And then the one who was actually doing the ordering looks at me and like waves at me and is like, "You just keep looking over here. Is everything okay?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm sorry."
Oh my god, that's so good.
But yeah, just, is everyone okay with mushrooms? No.
What the fuck are you thinking?
Is everyone okay with pineapple pizza?
I love that.
Please. Disgusting.
Please.
You're embarrassing yourself. Big shout outs to Ed. This next one, Will is constantly beating himself up about how he performs on our podcast. And
what?
Not entirely without reason, but this is my gift to him. This makes me laugh out loud every time I hear it, and he's the central part of
And
it.
Ryan, this isn't tertiary frames, right? Because that can't possibly.
This is not tertiary.
Because that is something that has stuck in my memory as the least funny thing we've done on the podcast, and I am just as guilty as Will on that one.
Yeah, I mean, he anyway. This is my gift to him because I genuinely love this moment. This is from our James Bond draft.
All right, my pick, of course. Now that we're all just trying to, mess with each other, I gotta go with the linchpin of my movie. My favorite thing from either of the franchises, Xenia Onatop as the henchman.
So that's a wild card pick, correct?
That's a wild card
all
pick.
right,
but
That's
a great
correct.
one. Honestly, thought she was missing from the list.
Well, we can only have 4 here, but yes, I respect that.
Xenia Onatop, known in the biz for viciously squeezing men to death with her powerful thighs, played by Famke Janssen, and I'm really excited to have her.
I would argue too excited.
Oh well, I can't pick Adam Scott anymore because
That's right. You blew your load on Xenia.
not for the first time.
Oh man.
I'm not going to dignify that with a response.
I'm not going to say it's mature, but I laugh at it every time.
Those James Bond films sure are something.
They really are.
Yeah. Anyway, as I was saying, this next clip, also a campaign, but a very different one. This is Godzilla Goes to the DNC, 1976.
No, it's not. Oh my god.
Best of all, cinema shares stormed the 1976 Democratic National Convention, which took place in New York City mere weeks before the premiere of Godzilla vs. Megalon. They placed giant plaster Godzilla footprints at the entrance to Madison Square Garden, which were there through the whole convention. They passed out Godzilla for President buttons and t-shirts throughout the city.
Wait.
This
Who?
is-
It's wild.
This is great viral marketing, I gotta say.
It is.
But I'm confused. Like, what was the coverage on the DNC was it and who was like, I know, these politicians from Washington will surely love
Well, also,
what we're doing here.
Is the implication that Godzilla is one of the Democrats at the convention, or is the implication that he's a Republican and he's trying to drain the swamp?
Yeah. Weren't they worried?
I have one more piece to share, which I think will put in place that Godzilla was supposed to be a Democratic.
This is a heaven alone on the marketing campaign.
Most bizarrely, they paid a group of bikini-clad women to storm the floor of the convention right after Jimmy Carter was elected as the presidential candidate, demanding that Godzilla be made vice president.
What? What?
Yeah.
I don't have any comment other than like the 70s, I guess. It also just makes no. I don't think is there even a woman in the film? Wait, I just realized.
No.
There's no
Which we'll get to.
There's no woman in the film. Except for those dancers. Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Were they wearing
So
those
I kind
outfits?
of-
Or no, that just bikinis, not themed costumes?
No.
Wild.
I gotta wonder if you look at all the news footage of Jimmy
Yeah.
Carter coming up on stage, if you can see them somewhere in the background.
My question then is, like, did it work?
Well, Jimmy Carter got made president.
Right.
Yeah.
That's true.
And Godzilla was vice president.
It's also confusing because it's like, okay, we're gonna make a comic for kids, and then we're gonna have bikini-clad women at a convention that only adults will be.
Right. Yeah.
You know, it's like,
Yeah,
who's
they were
the
like,
audience?
we got it. We covered all the main demographics: kids and straight adult men. That's it. Like, we nailed it.
That's
And
who's going
straight
to see
adult,
this.
politically savvy men. 4 quadrants.
Classic 4 quadrant.
Yeah.
When they did show the movie for critics, they cleverly invited them to bring their families and pack the theater with as many kids as possible, giving it sort of a matinee atmosphere and showing how much the kids would love it, which I don't know why they don't do for more kids movies now that I think about this.
Yeah.
But,
and the bikini women weren't there on this?
Right.
not that day. They were sitting behind the glass, like watching people's experience.
Taking notes.
That is still, like, I think one of the wildest factoids about the Godzilla universe that you have shared. Like, rehearing it, and then also, I was in Chicago during the DNC this year and was staying at my grandma's house, and she was watching it on, like, volume 80 because she's hard of hearing. And I, by the end, thought I was gonna lose my mind with the... I never tuned in. I didn't, like, quite realize the full spectacle that they make it. Like, it's kind of just all fluff and a circus, and you know, it sounds like nothing has changed.
Definitely not. No, Jimmy Carter just turned 100.
He did.
And I bet one of the few memories rattling around in his skull is being approached by women shouting Godzilla for vice president.
You think
that is just so beyond, like, it's...
Wait, hold on. Ryan, you think that the 100-year-old former president of the United States and longtime humanitarian in this version that you just described
thinking about
only has a few memories left, and those happen to be that one night when the bikini ladies and Godzilla showed up? Because I think you're right.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. That, I can't believe I forgot about that factoid, and I'm gonna have to remember it. And
I had such a joy recalling all that stuff for that episode. That's some of my favorite Godzilla trivia.
That is just... Yeah, no words for it. How much did they have to pay for that? Do we know?
I don't know.
The other thing, too, is, like, they would still, I'm sure, allow it to happen today. And it's like, what? Anyways, I could save that for my next podcast. Political one.
I mean, is Tim Walz not the most Godzilla-like of all the vice presidents?
Ooh, interesting question.
Interesting question.
Anyway.
He could for sure be in one of the films. Anyways.
Yeah. He could be one of the scientists. All right, we're going to close out here with our tribute to Godzilla at his funeral.
When Sam and I were
Beautiful
bawling,
song.
just
Yes.
so beyond desperate with sadness.
Exactly.
If you'll all open your hymn books to page 95, we'll sing a traditional favorite of Godzilla's. Maestro, if you please.
Alright. This one goes out to Godzilla.
With a purposeful grimace and a terrible sound, we
did this. What a bunch of nerds.
Helpless people on a subway train screamed but eyed as he looked in on them. He picked up a bus and he threw it back.
It's wild I used to be able to hear those notes.
This was only 2 years ago.
Now it's time to go. Goodbye, Godzilla. Oh no. To Godzilla, heaven you go. Goodbye, Godzilla.
Wait, do you see that? Godzilla's reforming. His
Oh my
fingers
God.
are moving.
What?
He's okay. He's alive.
Oh my god. That was some great improv.
Godzilla, I'm sorry for what I said about you.
Oh my god.
We must have restored him with the love conveyed through our song.
Wow. Oh
my god. I do believe in Godzilla. I do.
I do believe in Godzilla.
I do believe in Junior.
Oh no, they say he's got to go, 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 Godzilla. Oh no, there goes Tokyo.
A few thoughts. Doesn't sound that bad, actually. It sounds pretty
No,
good.
it really
Like,
doesn't.
The harmonies, the voices together, like really kind of work. But then my second thought is, it's so tough to know if the Mothra moment at our live show or that whole clip are the nerdiest things we've done in the journey of this podcast. It's really tough and it's close call. I don't know.
They're certainly two of my favorite moments.
They're fantastic.
How did this come about?
I said I wanted the Godzilla funeral dirge, and then we bandied about some ideas, and then finally you, Sam, said, I'll just play it on guitar and tweak the lyrics, and then send that to people as a guide track.
So did we record separately?
Yeah,
we
we
did.
did.
What?
And shout out to Jess, who is the only guest that came through to add her vocals to it. So it's the three of us and Jess.
It's also like in my memory, we recorded that live as we were recording, and we were all singing together. So that just shows you, how my memory works. I forgot that we did that though at all. Wow. Okay, so I think like the key is we should have just more songs.
I think so. Yeah.
True. More musical numbers.
That'll be the spin-off. The spin-off show will be musical numbers.
Godzilla the musical.
Oh man.
I also really liked the way that Ryan introed that of please open your hymns, and I wish we had like taken that even further. Like what if we had one episode that was just fully seriously a religious service that we were putting on.
There's so many great episodes we could still do when time allows. But yeah, honestly, as a spin-off or just an episode, just doing Godzilla songs would be so fun.
I do have to say, I feel like every popular sitcom or those shows that aren't quite dramas, but they're not quite sitcoms, around season 7, they do usually do like a musical episode. So that could also be the route that we kind of lean on. Like Riverdale did it. They all do it.
Totally.
That was some great work.
Yeah, this is
Thanks,
actually
Sam, for playing that old guitar.
Yeah, that I only learned guitar really. I mean, I kind of knew how to play it, but I only really learned it during like quarantine. So that was probably a fairly new thing when I recorded that. But no, this is a credit to both of you. I am terrified of singing in front of people. Absolutely, like top 10 biggest fears, and top 2 biggest fears probably. And yeah, that you convinced me to sing for something is actually wild.
Sam must really love Godzilla.
That's all Godzilla there.
All right, so here we have some more fan and guest messages. Got a couple audio ones. We're going to start with one from Jess.
Joanna, Sam, and Ryan, it's Jess Morse. Congratulations on the end of Godzillavangelists. I'm so proud of you. It was a great podcast, and now you can put it to bed and be proud of what you've done. I assume I was your best guest. I really cannot know for sure, but I'm going to live with that in my heart for the rest of my life. It's been so great watching Godzilla with you, talking about Godzilla with you, writing about Godzilla with you, and I can't wait to see what you guys do next, and I'll be sure to be listening. Congrats again, guys.
Oh my god, that was so sweet and funny and perfect.
Yeah. Honestly, Jess, you're a contender.
Yeah, for sure. Also, are we getting back to the sentimental and the sweet part? Because, oh no, I'm going to tear up.
we might be, yeah. And then this is Matt Frank coming in hot.
Hey, what's up, Godzillavangelists? I'm not drunk. You drunk. This is Matt Frank. That's the guy that draws the lizards. Anyway, I'm just congratulating y'all on the finale, the final Godzillavangelists podcast. And that's great. I swear I'm not drunk. I'm just in a silly mood because I'm just so happy for you guys. I really, truly, I still look back on the Final Wars episode we did with a lot of fondness. I had a really fun time on the show. I need to get caught up on the episodes, admittedly, but I have greatly enjoyed what I've heard. I definitely wish I could have been there for the GMK episode, because boy howdy do I have opinions about that movie, but that's okay. It's great that so many more people are getting into Godzilla and bringing their friends into Godzilla stuff. Next is gonna be, I'm gonna guess, the Church of Gamera.
Yes. Oh my God, I agree. Also, there's the spin-off, the Church of Gamera. Also, he should do cartoon voices. I mean, that is like the hugest compliment. He would be great at it.
Also, props.
Matt, go ahead.
I was gonna say, also props to Matt for being the first person to correctly pronounce our name with all those extra S's at the end.
Yeah, exactly.
That's right.
That's how it's meant. Finally got it.
Such a goofy, fun guy.
Yeah.
As I said, kind of an idol of mine when I was a teenager, looking at his cool Godzilla art. He's done so much great stuff, even more since we did the podcast. If you're not up to date, you gots to check it out. I think he's just starting a Mothra comic series.
Really?
If I'm remembering correctly.
Shut up,
so.
Ryan goes casually, if I'm remembering correctly. Yeah, right, Ryan. You know if there's a Mothra comic book series. You can't fool us.
Oh, Joanna, there actually is one you gotta get. It's called like Monster Island Kids, and it's basically like inspired by Godzilla's Revenge. It's like a bunch of like kids. It's like Stranger Things, but Minya's their friend, and they're on Monster Island.
Godzilla Monster Island Summer Camp graphic novel.
Yes, yeah, that.
Oh my God, this was made for me.
It's so cute and funny, yeah.
Maybe I will, and I could get it from it. Oh my God, it just arrived, August 12th. It's hot off the press. Okay, I'm gonna get it.
And then I got a couple more messages in text. This is from Jeff Persinger. I had always considered myself a G fan, but hadn't really explored more than a couple of movies until I discovered your podcast earlier this year. Now Ryan, Joanna, and Sam have become vital to my enjoyment of the series as I make my way through all the films. The three of you complement each other so well. I'm about to end the Showa era films, and I can't wait to see and hear what happens next. P.S. I hear Ryan designs TTRPGs. Any chance for a kaiju themed one? I don't know why when I was reading that one, that's the first time I started to get a little emotional. But anyway, that's a great idea, Jeff. Maybe next year.
Now we know how Ryan views himself in his head.
It's true. My secret is revealed.
I mean, what if, plot twist, it's actually that Ryan is Godzilla, and that's like a very meta version of the movie, and it's all just been one long fucking intro to a film, and now is the big reveal.
It's like the end of Big. The sad music is playing, and Joanne and Sam are sitting in the car, and they see me walk away, and then they gasp, and I'm Godzilla.
What if, this is not what I'm gonna say, but what if at the end, you're like, and what do you think of Godzilla? Like, what do you think of doing this whole experience? And Sam and I were like, nah. And then it's just you unzipping and your Godzilla snapped.
He unzips.
I'm not gonna say that to the fans, okay? No need to throw any hate, all right?
Wow, what fun. Thanks, Jeff.
Yeah, thanks, Jeff.
Last one. Excuse me. Thank you so much for all the entertainment you've brought to fans. I found this channel during the pandemic, and you all are extremely entertaining and fun. I love hearing different perspectives on Godzilla films, especially from people not familiar with them. I've been around this franchise since the early 90s. I was obsessed with finding all the films and trying to learn as much as I could about the franchise. When Napster first released, the first song I downloaded was Godzilla by Blue Oyster Cult. When my girlfriend and I started...
but we made a sad version of that.
You downloaded that off Napster.
We should charge for that shit.
When my girlfriend and I started dating, she was familiar with Godzilla because of her parents, but none of them had seen all the films. My girlfriend now understands Godzilla and actually helped me enjoy some of the films that I hated. Every time we go to her family's house, I have to bring a Godzilla movie they haven't seen before. Toho and Legendary, please make more films because I'm running out of movies to show them.
And so
Anyways, are we. I know. We ran out.
Oh, no.
Again, thanks for all the entertainment you bring. I've enjoyed your personalities and learning from all three of you, whether it was about musicals, crafting film, or even some things about Godzilla that I surprisingly didn't know. For the sake of Godzilla, keep being awesome, Stephen S.
Thank you, Stephen. That was great. That was so...
Can I say one thing?
Here?
Yeah. I'm dead serious. So obviously we were the first or possibly second podcast to have this premise. But Stephen S. has an even better premise of showing every Godzilla movie to his in-laws.
Yeah.
Is it wife or girlfriend? I'm sorry. In-laws are potential, maybe future in-laws, depending on what stage you are. Point is, that's amazing.
That's a great, that's a really, really good one. Oh my god.
That is. Now I'm like tempted to show Natalia's family all the movies. Right. She's shaking her finger at me.
Wait, that would be so funny if Ryan just was like, actually, guys, I'm already booked up with my next gig. Okay. Was it Steve or Steven?
Steven.
Steven, thank you, though.
Was it girlfriend or wife? Because I don't want to...
It was girlfriend.
Girlfriend, okay. I'm sorry. Not in-laws.
No, I'm glad, though, that we could provide a little laughs along the journey of introducing new folks to the franchise, too.
To be sure,
Steven, yes.
Even though Steven sounds like he knows what he's talking about and probably could Sherpa us if we're being real, but nonetheless, to be there.
We got each other's backs. Us and Steven. And Steven, you also got the honor of possibly being our last fan message we read on the podcast. So, congratulations.
Congratulations. That's awesome.
Yeah. All right. Now is the time we get into the mushy stuff. I don't have any particular sort of outline for this section. So basically anything you guys want to talk about, any feelings, any parts of the show, before we do our key questions, now is the time.
Let me look.
Crying sound effects at the ready. I'll just throw out. We mentioned some favorite episodes, and I think recency bias. Sorry, stuttering. I think recency bias notwithstanding, I think our final draft episode was pretty dang fun, and I think we ended on a high note, if you will.
Yeah, doing the ranking was super fun. I hardly cut anything from that episode because it was all just one glorious fan smorgasbord talking about all our favorite moments and least favorite moments and coming to a d'entente, if you will, about our Godzilla opinions.
Also, 38 movies is so many movies. And then the fact that we watched additional on top of that, like that is really quite the feat. And yeah, that episode was really fun. They've all been really fun to record. Which is why I'm sad.
Is there one that's standing out to you, Joanna, that we haven't talked about much or at all?
An episode specifically?
Yeah.
I feel like I don't know that I have one. I feel like the specialty like sidebar episodes were always very like silly and fun for me, but I think that I honestly want to give a big shout out to the live show, because I feel like I've done a lot of live shows and never in my life did I think I would do a Godzilla one. B, that venue just felt like the vibe of it. I feel like it just was perfect with its little red velvet chairs and silly stage, the perfect setup. And I think that it just was fun to be able to laugh along with a crowd as we were going through some of our antics in a way that we don't normally ever get to do, which is why for anyone who's like written in a fan message, it's really nice to know that it's not just fully into the void. There are some ears hearing it, but I think that will be a core memory that I take away from this.
I'm gonna start with the obvious joke that of course the theater kid picks the live show as the favorite, but no, it was such a wonderful experience.
I mean, when we sang Happy Birthday, and not in a pitchy way, but I think for anyone who is a fan of the podcast and you've made it this far, if you haven't seen the live show, that would be a great, if you don't want the fun to end, that would be a great thing to take a look at, because we cooked up something fun with that.
And it's legitimately a great way to get people into Godzilla, as long as you don't mind.
My friends my friends still talk about it, and like most of them who came to the show they didn't know Godzilla things at all, but they're like, that show, we had so much fun. So
yeah,
that too.
I've shown it to a bunch of people since, and they're like, wow, we gotta watch some Godzilla movies.
Right, exactly.
I think we succeeded in making it a good jumping in point, but of course plenty of things to entertain longtime fans.
And I will also say too, I think in the first year or the first 1-2 years or 3 years, I feel like Sam and I would always joke about, oh my God, we gotta watch another movie. How many movies? And now it's like, wow, we actually we did it. And that's just crazy. Oh, wait, sorry. One other thing too is that I feel like we had this standing competition of who's better, Sam or Joanna, and we got some votes, but I don't know if we ever got really, solid, definitive answer on that. So I'd just like to pose it out to the crowd, Joanna, one more time. Just one last time. Throw it out there if you want to send the old vote in.
I think the people have spoken, and it was a unanimous Joanna victory.
If I'm being completely honest.
I
think there were some more Joanna votes than Sam.
Sorry, Sam. I forgot, as I did most things.
Oh, now I'm crying.
Okay, but seriously, when I was going through those clips, how many times did I laugh at something you said specifically, Sam? You were we've all been funny, but you were the funny bone. I mean that.
Yeah, and Sam was also not afraid to throw out a joke that wouldn't land, which is also really brave and bold.
Never the
and
problem.
some of my favorite moments came from those times.
No. I'm messing with you guys. I am fully comfortable in my own contribution to the show, and all of our contributions. We all brought something different. I think we made a good team. I'm not. Don't worry. Don't worry. I'm not if I'm being completely honest, not down on myself.
Sam, You almost seem like you're covering a little too much. Maybe you are. Yeah, I'm kidding.
No, I'm fine. No.
The lady does
Stop.
that's too much. Yeah. And we can't see his face. Ryan and I are. It's
Right.
very important to me that every listener knows. Ryan and I are consistently on camera for recording, and Sam, due to technological difficulties, is as of the last 2 years, never on camera.
Yeah,
That's
so we always
because
have to read in what he's feeling.
That's right. Well, what if I told you that I've done every podcast wearing sad clown makeup?
I would say it's enhanced your performance.
Too good.
Yeah, I know I said this once, and it was actually a lie, unfortunately, but it's
What?
true this time. Live show is just $5 on the site. It's actually true this time. So if you looked last time and were like, that motherfucker, no, it's actually $5 now. So
It's $5. I'm watching it on repeat.
yeah, it's a bargain. Well, I mean,
That is a bargain.
For $5, you get it forever. You get the show with and without the visual accompaniments. You get bonus clips, including a Sam montage that didn't make the show.
Yeah,
That's
the
super
bonus
cool.
clip is worth it.
So yeah, it's a bargain.
Wait, that is a steal. We should double the price at least.
Yeah, too low, Ryan.
Ryan,
People will
$10. Come on.
I had it at 15 for a long time. Didn't go well. Let's see how 5 does.
God damn it.
Yeah, I mean, that's the only thing. The only reason I'm not like, let's do 10 more live shows is because we're still $500 in the hole from the first one a year later.
You guys, there's no money in the theater, okay? There never has been. Unless you can really pump the alcohol sales, but I think at that venue they got the money, not us,
Yeah.
so it's okay.
They got the bar, unfortunately.
Wait, I was gonna say, I totally did not give a shout out to first the sound effects in the synopsis that we were doing, and then second, the incredibly, like, I don't know, Sam, how you felt, but the incredibly awkward feeling of bringing a friend onto the podcast. They'd never seen a Godzilla movie before. They think Godzilla is King Kong. And then within about 30 seconds of being on the pod, you go, don't worry about talking yet, but we might make weird noises. Well, Ryan is telling us about the plot.
Yeah.
So that unique experience, too, is just, special.
Yeah. Someday, this is another idea for an episode. We could go back and do synopses for those episodes that we skipped, that brief time when I didn't do the synopsis.
I know, and that really stressed me out too, because sometimes I'd be like, I don't know if I caught all the points, and I really relied on those. I was always taking notes during those sections of the pod to make sure I had all I needed.
You know how when people read Hamlet and they don't totally get it, and then someone's like, well, no, you need to see it performed. Like, that's the way it was intended. That's how I feel about the synopsis, where I read a Wikipedia synopsis and I'm like, yeah, but I can't hear it. I need the sound effects.
You need my melodious narration.
That's right. We need Ryan's voice and us going.
Yeah, it's all that kind of stuff. So we're settling in for the last round of the last show, and I have 3 very important questions to ask you guys. And I said it in kind of a vaguely silly way, but no, these are 3 legit down-to-earth questions. And so we're going to start with the first one. What did you learn from watching these movies? And not just specifically the Godzilla movies. Everything we watched is on the table here. But, I mean, obviously it was mostly Godzilla.
I don't want to go first because I'm nervous.
Oh, no.
Sam, will you break the ice for us?
Okay. Well, this is about to get real sappy, so buckle in.
Oh, no.
So, okay. So, I agreed to do this show partially because I had never seen a Godzilla, and partially, honestly, I was like, that'll be a fun lark. Like, I kind of imagined most of the movies being like Gamera versus Giron. That's like what I pictured every movie being like. And I also thought like, oh, it'll be fun. Like, we'll watch some kind of, cheap but creative movies, and we'll have a good time. And I quickly learned that I think Godzilla and the Godzilla series mean a lot more to people than I initially thought. And in a way that's not just like, oh, because people grew up on it. Like, people grew up watching the Bionicle movies, and like, people have, do you know what I mean? Like, people have good, good memories of them. They like them, but I don't think that maybe I'm wrong. The Bionicle fans are going to be coming after me hot after this. I'm so sorry. I'm just saying, like it seems like there's something bigger going on with Godzilla, and I think watching the movies, watching all 38 of them, sometimes more than once, I think there's something about Godzilla being a big misunderstood monster that people, especially when they're kids and perhaps feel a bit like a big misunderstood monster, tap into it, and it speaks on a more in a way that's more close to your heart. I think as the series goes on and Godzilla starts rolling with this crew of unlikely weirdos who are all also misunderstood monsters, and there's like a friendship thing going on, I just think there's something kind of deep that people tap into. And so when I went into this thinking, oh yeah, we'll have a good time, we're going to stomp on some little buildings, I didn't expect it to be like, no, this is really sacred to me. And they're not wrong for feeling that way, because it's connecting with people's hearts in a way I did not know going in. And that is the thing I have learned. End of story.
That's
end of answer.
That's awesome, and I mean it ties in with a lot of my thoughts. I will get into this more, but yeah, there is definitely a relating to of Godzilla as outcast and somehow managing to find all his other outcasts. That's why I really like that run of early 60s movies, because even though they don't really have that much to do with each other, they're tonally super different, not a lot of the same characters. They do like vaguely tell a story of Godzilla going from the loneliest, angriest creature on Earth to patriarch of Monster Island. And it's such a sweet story that affects me. Now obviously I'm in a little bit different of a boat, because that was the message I carried, by the time I was 16, 17. So watching them this time, what did I learn specifically? And I think the clearest answer I can give is I learned, I feel like I have a better idea of what Godzilla has been and hasn't been yet. And I'm excited to see what Godzilla could be in the future because of that. So Godzilla is such a multifaceted character, which sounds like a silly thing to say, but it's true. He's been a metaphor of nuclear annihilation, a nasty villain, a goofy superhero, humanity's best friend, and the grumpy
vice presidential candidate for the Democratic
vice presidential candidate to Jimmy Carter, grumpy, reluctant hero. And we've seen the horror-tinged Godzilla movies, although I'd still love to see when that pushes it all the way into horror territory. We've seen comedies, like straight-up satirical comedies. It's amazing the versatility of what Godzilla can be, and how there's still so much untapped potential there. Even in some of our goofy James Bond pitches, I was seeing seeds of like, well, no, we're being silly, but if you took this little part of it, that's a cool Godzilla movie we haven't seen yet. And I also learned, I feel like I have a better idea what people can attach to with Godzilla if you don't grow up with him. I know like what works and what doesn't in a much more micro way. I've seen what got you guys on my side and what didn't work as well. so just purely from a like trying to convert people, I have my game plan much more set up than I did when I first started.
It was just 7-8 years for him to get his game plan set.
Yeah, it's become so honed.
Now the real work begins.
Yes. Joanna.
I think that what I've learned, also Ryan, that I'd be curious to hear after too, like what you maybe thought the two of us would learn or hoped at the very beginning, if you can remember, because I know that was a while ago. But I think similar to some of the stuff Sam was saying, this is far and above and probably always will be the deepest I've ever done a dive into a fandom. And I think that probably besides like Gilmore Girls maybe, which is like very different, I don't think there's any other franchise that I have done as deep of a dive into. And I think the coolest thing for me was kind of like on the outside being like, huh? Godzilla, what? Like, who? And hearing a little bit from like my dad and his experience growing up with, and watching Godzilla, and my brother, but always kind of being like, I don't get it. And I think my biggest learning would be getting it. Like, that's the, like, getting it with one of these bigger franchises and fandoms, and seeing and learning along the way, like, what really makes it work. I think obviously we can say there are times like it really works. There are some times when it doesn't, but they're still taking shots at it. And when they're telling a strong story and having strong characters, whether they're fun or goofy or their motives are strong, whatever it is, and making a point, it really does work. And it, like, I guess it just is really insane if, you know, over 60 years ago now, when the first film was being made, if you had told those people, hey, by the way, this will become one of the biggest series in the world and it will still be going at quite a rapid pace all this time later. So I think just learning from you guys more about like film in general, and Ryan, all the facts that you were able to share, I thought were so cool. Those were actually like some of my favorite parts when you were sharing like the behind the scenes and production aspects of it. But I think that, yeah, the getting it piece, that's like the verbiage that keeps popping up in my head of like understanding how it resonates so much. And I think it's also coincided with the end of the pod, has coincided with this time working at fandom and like going to Comic-Con and all of those things. And I think it has just like warmed my heart and opened my heart up in a lot of ways of being really grateful that there are all these like different things that people love and that can connect them together and that they can hold on to and like use as a source of joy or motivation or inspiration in their lives.
That's so precious.
I know, it really is.
That's sweet. Yeah, it's very true. It's I mean, there's lots of toxicity in the Godzilla fandom. There isn't any fandom. But it really is like a big group of weirdos. And I think for the people who have truly embraced that any weirdo is welcome to Godzilla World, has gotten it and gotten the idea that we all just need to join hands together and celebrate this big, goofy, lovable monster. But to answer your question directly, I think my thesis in the first episode goes basically like, I want to show that Godzilla movies are worth something. They're not just a fluke or cheesiness or nostalgia bait. And I think I've done that several times over. So I'm proud of the work I've done. And the world has also changed in how it perceives Godzilla so much since we started. It's, I mean, especially with stuff like -1 and Godzilla versus Kong. But I mean, just in general. So I certainly wasn't the only one doing the work, but I would say mission accomplished in terms of what I was hoping you guys would learn.
Yeah, I think definitely mission accomplished.
All right, similar question, but a little bit different of a bent. How do you, specifically you, feel about Godzilla and Godzilla movies now?
Who's going first? I'm not going to go first this time.
We'll go in reverse order then.
Yeah, I can go first. I think that I still will, forever live with the haunting question, good guy, bad guy, keeping me up at night. But that's fine because the series needs somewhere to go, so it can have it with that. But I think that the biggest, I think over the course of recording, for a little background, for the listeners, I guess, we started off, and I think I too, similarly, Sam, I was like, this will be fun. But truly, I was like, there's probably, 7 movies? Had just no concept of how many films there were. And so, I think it's crazy to think even over the course of recording, first we were watching the movies all together and then started separating, and then COVID, there was a bit of a break and all this. But it has become so regularly ingrained now that it's like a comforting thing that I look forward to, which feels really corny. But I think when we were even a little younger and schedules were busier, I was like, oh, but I want to go to the beach, sometimes. And it has become I was explaining this to a friend the other day. I'm like, I don't know, it's just become something that is just such a nice, steady, and small little part of my life to have. And this is where I will get kind of corny. It would feel really weird if after this we were just going to be like, well, it's been fun. See you guys never. So I think I'm excited and grateful that it will keep going. And I think that one big moment for me was, God, Brian, I always forget. But the name of the movie that it was meant to be that for the kids, and they'd all lead up to the big one at the end of the day. Which one was that? The new one.
The Champion Festival.
The Champion Festival. I think experience of watching it with kids and seeing the movies in theaters with that audience really was a moment for me and brought it to life in such a fun way that obviously that my dad talks about when the older movies came out, and that my brother talks about seeing it in Japan when it came out when he was living there. So I think I just feel it's very heartwarming to think about Godzilla in general now. And again, kind of similar to the last answer, but just seeing more and understanding more what it really is that is bringing people together. That it's there's so much different meaning, and it has played such a big part in all these different phases of people's lives. And so I'm very happy and grateful to have it in my life, which is, I don't know if I would have expected to have said that, come up around episode 1.
I'm glad, because we were just recent friends then, and I was just I needed a a perspective from somebody who's not just like me and Sam. So I was asking people who I felt could bring that different perspective.
And as we could tell from the pod, I'd hardly ever seen any movies. So
yes, I got more than I bargained for in the best of ways. I'll put it that way.
You guys, but everyone knows improv friends are true friends, you know?
That's right.
So here's what changed for me, because obviously I was always in love with the series, and I still am. I think I feel less defensive, like I have less to prove. Like going through this, there's stuff about like the early years that I regret. Like I was like, no, we got to do it this specific way in this chronology, and like to show the appreciation of like these different talents. And I should have just let them speak for themselves more, and that stuff comes out. You know, you ask about, oh, who did that? Like I'm detecting like these things carrying through, and even when it wasn't hitting, I should have just embraced that it was fun, because later on, when I did start to embrace that, we started to have a better time. It's like, it's kind of funny because ironically when I started the show, I'm like, I want this to be for newbies as much as like people who love Godzilla, and I want it to be like heavy on the comedy. That's why I brought you guys in, and we just been an improv. But I put up so many roadblocks to actually making it funny, and then later on when I came to like accept that we were going to be more of a fan show is when I lightened up and loosened up. And it could have been what I wanted at the start. So yeah, I it's not that I take the series less seriously, but I'm like, I feel like I have to be less of the protective dad throwing punches for my kid. Minya has grown up and he can defend himself.
But Ryan, it also is like a really crazy thing to be like, I'm gonna take something I love so much that I know might get some, who knows how people will take it, and like I'm gonna go through all of it and get the love or the critiques of all of it. Like that's again, I have one friend who's like, I don't like Gilmore Girls, I don't get it. I'm like, all right, well, I don't understand why we're friends then. So, it's a bold move. So kudos to you for doing it.
Thank you. Yes, I knew obviously there were flaws. Like our description has always read, we show the beautiful atomic glow and ugly atomic warts of each movie, and right. I knew that going in, and that's sort of the whole thing. But just the feeling of it, like I don't have to be as stiff and formulaic about it, and being able to see, I don't know, like I just gotta liken it to the baby grew up and I don't have to take care of it anymore. So it's not that Godzilla means less to me, but I feel like I don't have to be as invested. I don't have to be everyone's Godzilla guy, although I'm happy to. So I don't have to always know what's going on in the Godzilla world. I don't always have to, be hyper defensive and ready to strike out. I can just flow with it because I know that the love is out there. I know that these movies can win people over if they're just ready to let them.
That's really freeing too, to just be like, they got this.
Yeah.
Fly, exactly. Little Godzilla movies.
You can do it. Sam.
It's funny you arrived at a similar place to where my answer to this is going to arrive. My question, well, first off, I think Godzilla and I are tight. That's where I net at.
Absolutely.
That's how I feel.
Oh yeah.
He and I are chill. I think that, I'm coming to this series late, and I told you what I learned about the series, and I really respect that. I both have the connection, but I don't have the connection in the way that someone who grew up in Godzilla world would have it, I think. I kind of see it as like there are some movies I really enjoyed. There are some that I enjoyed watching for the podcast. I don't, who knows when I'll see them again. I don't know. I'm not like itching to put in Godzilla 2000, ASAP. And they're arguably worse movies that I grew up on that I'm like, I feel like I want to watch that again. Why do I want to watch Ridley Scott's Legend soon? I don't know. I grew up, I watched it a bunch as a kid, and for some reason I want to see it again. I don't know. It's this is a very subjective thing, but I've said my slight disappointment at the series going into kind of stagnant territory, especially in the 90s. But this is where I'm headed. Have you guys ever done the mental exercise of thinking about just hypothetically what books and movies and games and all sorts of things you would show a hypothetical future kid? Do you ever do that?
Yeah, for sure.
So I've done that many times with movies, but all sorts of things. And I think about like Who Framed Roger Rabbit and Princess Bride and Star Wars and Raiders of the Lost Ark and a bunch of Pixar movies, and I do that whole thing. And then I remember like when I was probably like 7, and my dad goes, Sam, come over here, and there's something on TV. There's a movie I want you to see. And I went in, and he had done that with Raiders of the Lost Ark before, which ironically, I think we may have talked about this on the podcast. I knew what Indiana Jones was because of the Disneyland ride. And I was like, where's the Temple of the Forbidden Eye? Like, this is this other thing, but I was still totally into it, and, had a great time. And he did that many times with movies that he was like, oh, yeah, this is on TV, you should see it. I remember him showing me Star Wars when I was 4 years old. He's like, you're 4, you can watch Star Wars. Let's get into it. I was, crazy into Star Wars, for many years after that. My dad goes, you should see this, Sam. And it was Seventh Voyage of Sinbad. And I, and that's not like, I hadn't seen it since. I missed the viewing of that for the podcast, ironically. But in a similar way, I could see in a very hypothetical future kid scenario, just being like, hey, come over here. I want you to see this on the whatever streaming service exists then. This is King Kong versus Godzilla. You're gonna like this. I could see myself doing that with Ghidorah the three-headed monster. I could see that doing that with Smog Monster. Monster Zero. There are just certain ones I could see myself being like, nah, you should see this. This is good. And if that kid, just without me prodding them at all, again, this is totally hypothetical, we're like, if I just let them do their thing and suddenly I come in and they're watching Final Wars, I'd be like, well, you know what? You gotta let them do their thing. And suddenly they're a Godzilla fan. I will say, I kind of started that, didn't I? Interesting. It's just a little fantasy I played in my head. So yeah, am I going to be, would I go out and show them every single one, or show them, Godzilla 2000 right out the gate? Probably not. But I'd be like, this three-headed monster business. You want to see Malmus, the ruffly collared space assassin? Yeah, you do. Check this out.
Oh, that is getting me in the heart. I don't know. It reminds me of like, gosh, the end of Klaus, which I love, where he's like telling his kids about his old friend Santa Claus. It's getting me in that spot.
I think it already even too. I feel like there's been so many that I've like told my brother and said like, hey, my nephews and stuff would like these, and so that is very fun to think about the hypothetical future too.
Yeah, I'm crossing my fingers that any future kid of mine will at least humor Godzilla.
Again, I'm not coming on strong. I'm me. I'm gonna go.
Sam's taking the chill route.
I'll be a cool parent. Oh, whoops. Did someone leave this on? Oh, no.
Whoops.
Did someone accidentally put the child blocks on every streaming service so that this is the only movie you can watch?
What an accident that was. Oh, no.
Ryan, that would be so devastating if your kid just absolutely hated it. And I think there, too, is another movie, a plot of a dad who just really wants his kid to love it.
I gotta be prepared, because my dad, literally, when I was 1 day old, brought me a baseball glove and baseball in the delivery room, and that didn't go well.
The last time you touched it.
Pretty much. But the thing is, he also loved Godzilla. So.
Right. Yeah, it's a balance. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then that scene happens where Godzilla and the monster are just batting and catching that rock, and you're just watching it, like, clapping and all excited. And he goes, "Oh, come on, you kidding? This is the same thing."
And he'll be prepped for it because of this podcast.
I mean, he always talks about it, how he would try to get me to do things I didn't want to by turning it into a Godzilla story. Like, I was so terrified of the water. If somebody's trying to teach you how to swim, he's like, "Okay, you're Godzilla and I'm a Bira," and then he would do his hands like claws.
Wait, oh my god. Warms my little heart.
Yeah.
Because, Ryan, every Godzilla movie ends in Godzilla walking into the water.
Into the water.
Yeah. All right, and we're going to end on something that we've definitely, in our previous answers, we've talked about this, but I'd like to really bring it home with what was special about the show to you?
I have a few different things, and I also feel like I'll probably feel like, damn it, I missed something. And at the, next episode we record in 5 years, I'll have to get it out then. But I think first and foremost, kind of as I spoke to you guys earlier, but working with you guys really has been fun on this. Again, even if we've recorded an episode for the third time, or it's 11 p.m. on the East Coast when we're starting, and I'm whatever, I always leave like feeling energized and be like, man, that was a fun time chatting with my friends. Even today, before we started, I was like, and again, I don't know where exactly the end time for runtime will end with this, but I was like, oh yeah, it'll probably be like an hour, and now we're like 3 hours into this.
Yeah, we're getting there.
And still going strong. So I think that has been very special to me. And I think that doing the live show, as I said, is like a core memory just in general in life that's gonna stick with me. Getting letters from the fans, like, I think helped to obviously just add to what I was speaking to earlier about like getting it with the fandom and understanding what this series really truly means to a whole bunch of different people. And I think it is very cool that for the folks who are really invested in the series, that this could hopefully give them a way to like extend and expand that universe, which I feel like for everything that I love is always so important and valuable when there's like, oh my god, there's more that I can like have be a part of it and get to listen to and enjoy it and think about all the things I love about it too. And then I think too that our lives have changed a lot, like since we first started doing this, as our little UCB improvers. And then, but at the same time, like, we're still, just nerds here fueling our little creative souls and all the projects outside of this, and then having this project as a consistent thing. And I think that just feels a little bit indicative of this larger Godzilla universe, that like it spans generations and people who have seen it. It changes always, like, their lives are changing, but this is kind of remaining consistent even as it's changing. Like, there are some tried and true things that you can trust and hold on to. And I think it's exciting, some of the newer stuff that has come out. And Ryan, I would agree with you. I'm excited that like maybe there's even more of something that they're tapping into to continue bringing it to more audiences in ways that are like really exciting and top-notch filmmaking. And one other thing too, working with you guys, just going back to that, I learned a lot. Like, again, we joke, but like really, I'm like, have I seen movies ever? I don't know. I'm an actor who's seen no movies, and I learned so much about film and all that. So, yeah, thank you guys.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, and also, you know,
got?
some would say seeing as many movies as maybe we have seen is not great. You know what I mean? like that might not be a good thing. Who knows? It might mean that you're.
It certainly didn't help me get an industry job.
Wait, that's so funny. Oh my god.
But yeah, so a lot of overlap here. As I was kind of talking about the Godzilla series having a big cast of misunderstood monsters and misfit characters, I think the thing that I have most enjoyed about the podcast has been the misfit characters that have been involved. So you two being the main misfits, all of the different guests we've had. I mean, everyone's been wonderful. It's been really fun, getting to know everyone. People we've become friends with through the podcast or better friends with through the podcast. And then I think I'm with Joanna on the fan letters. They're crazy. It's totally insane to be doing this thing that feels like we're just doing it, and and you record it. In my case, forget everything that was said. If I ever listen to one, it's like listening to a fresh podcast that like someone else recorded. I'm like, oh yeah, that voice is familiar. And then there are fan messages of people who are like, you got me through a hard time, or a lot of my pandemic was listening to your podcast, or I did a new rewatch, or I listened to you while building furniture, possibly. I don't know. Like it's really crazy to hear that. Be like, wow, it never ceases to surprise and amaze me that people listen. So thank you very much to everyone who's been listening and everyone who has written in. I count you guys as part of the monster cast that makes the big monsterverse. I don't know who the Mickey Segusa is in this situation. Something tells me it's Mac, as
Yeah.
Yeah,
the most recurring character.
Yeah.
Still don't know why she had to be a psychic, but what are you gonna do? I don't know.
What are you gonna do?
Someday we'll figure it out.
It's good to leave the questions unanswered.
Yeah.
A little mystery to linger in the air always.
To quote A Serious Man, a movie we have not covered on this podcast, except the mystery.
Except the mystery.
Exactly. I like that, the cast of misfits.
Yes. The island of misfit toys. I love Rudolph. I love Godzilla. It makes sense. The island of misfit toys, the island Monster Island.
But how do you feel about the island of children in Chitty Chitty Bang Bang who got kidnapped by the child catcher?
All I can say is more proof that something was wrong with Ian Fleming.
Yes.
But speaking of which, or not Ian Fleming, but childhood stuff. For me, this goes back to a childhood. I've spoken about this many times. Live show, first episode, all those. But being a lonely child and wanting to share Godzilla with everyone because I loved it so much, and having difficulty doing that with even my friends. I remember I showed my friend Tokyo SOS because I was so excited when it came out, and his sister came in and started making fun of it, and he was like, "Hey, it's playoff. Like, this was made in the '60s," and then I had to be like, "Actually, it was made last year."
Oh my god, that's so funny.
Yeah.
That's
So it
so
was
good.
Not an easy sell, even among the friends who loved me. So, in a way, this has been very cathartic to be able to share this with you guys and have you come around to loving it in your own personal way, and to share it with lots of other people who love it too. I know that my sister said that it's deepened her connection to Godzilla, and all of that just makes me feel wonderful. It heals a little crack on the shattered heart of my inner child. And I'm so grateful to be a spot of light for the fans who have written in, like you said. And there's such a diverse group of people, at least in terms of what they do. You know, we've had night watchmen and doctorates, geniuses, really. You know, people who play in heavy metal bands, fine artists who listen to us while they draw. It's really cool to get to hear all the places that people come from and where they're going and who they want to share Godzilla with. And to have played any part of that I feel so happy I was able to do that. And I'm also grateful that I got to share so much of this time in this series with two good friends. You know, doing the show with you guys has picked me up from some bad times and, you know, made the good times better. And, you know, it wasn't always easy. You know, look at our 3 giant hiatuses. But we made it, and I'm so glad that it was the 3 of us who made it, because at times I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure that it was always going to be the same 3 people, but I'm so happy that we did it. And it speaks to both of your character that you stuck with it, even when it was at times irritating and didn't fit especially well into your life. And, you know, especially at the point where you're like, oh, this isn't going to make us money. This is just for the love of the game. So I appreciate that. And I am sincerely going to miss getting to do this every month or so with you guys. And I'm going to do my best to make sure that we stay in contact and still get to do fun things, of course. But I will so miss talking about Godzilla all the time with you guys, and I love you both.
Whew. Yeah, I agree. And man, 2 thoughts. Like, 1, anytime you want to fire up the old GarageBand, you just let me know. And 2, I just had a really crazy thought of what if there is a time in the distant future where we're recording an episode and we're really old and like someone's kid is on the episode. That would be fucking nuts. That'd be crazy.
I would, and that would be great, and it's certainly not impossible.
Yeah, Brian, also kudos. I wish I had like a champagne bottle, because you really steered the ship over all this time. Ryan steered the ship, okay? Sam and I just sometimes, I wouldn't even say I was on, like, sometimes I was like, Ryan was like driving the boat by, and I was like, oh, maybe I'll just, sure.
No, he was steering the ship while I was just yanking the sail side to side all over the place. And I think Joanna was like, "Oh, I was supposed to do that sail? Okay, well." And then Ryan's like steering it and kept the ship steady for so many years, and we finally got to wherever we were. You know, the end of metaphor, Japan. We took the ship to Japan. We made it.
And then Steve Martin said, "This isn't Kyra."
I'm glad that through all of the steering and work that you put into and invested in this podcast, that it at the same time helped to change your perspective and just allow you to be like, you know what, Godzilla is perfect exactly as he is, and even though I know you've always known that, to now feel that you can just like let it speak for itself even more. I never in my life, there are still some newer friends of mine who like don't find out that I am a part of a Godzilla podcast until like a little bit later on, and it like blows their mind, and then it blows their mind again when they find out how many episodes we've done.
We're ending on a weird number. This is going to be number 57.
Number 57? Ugh.
I know.
It
makes me feel a little bit better because the episode we did about the Kong versus Godzilla opening, that really should have been a numbered episode. So it really should be 58. But yeah, it's a weird number.
Whatever, we'll take it.
Yeah. All right. So before we say our goodbyes, this is what I wanted to tell you, the loyal listeners, about our plans for the show's future. All right. So our RSS feed is going to be up as long as the price stays cheap and I don't go broke. So you're going to be able to get it at your usual podcast providers basically forever, as far as I'm concerned. Same with our YouTube channel. As long as that stays free, all the episodes and minisodes are going to be maintained there for your pleasure. We'll also do our best to respond to any emails or comments coming in. We weren't great at that already, but expect even longer delays perhaps, but we'll get to it. And speaking of things we were never great at, our social media will be going dark at the end of the year, except for sharing key updates. Now our website is a good bit more expensive, so about 8 months after this episode comes out, it's going to go offline. So I'm not sure what that's going to mean for access to the live show primarily. That's my main focus, is figuring out alternate ways to get a hold of that download. So as soon as I know where it'll be on our social media. But if you have any attachment to the page layouts, visuals, screenshot them, download them, whatever you want, because that won't be there forever. As we've been pretty transparently hinting, this isn't truly completely the end of Godzillavangelists. The sort of little agreement we made amongst each other is whenever a Godzilla feature film comes out in the future, we're going to do our best to cover it within a month of when it comes out.
Well, and we've also got Pratt already signed up for Monarch Season 2, so...
That's true. We might not have Sam there, but we can loop in Pratt when Monarch Season 2 comes out. We'll do that. And hey, we might get nostalgic and pop out a couple surprises now and then. No guarantees on that, but maybe that Godzilla musical will come out, or Fan Fiction 2, or some of the giant monster movies we didn't get to cover.
Ryan, the fact too that I now know for the rest of my life, probably, anytime a Godzilla piece of content comes out, I'll be firing up the old podcast, because I'll just have to chat about it with my friends. That's really powerful. I think that's the most powerful impact that you could have and could have made.
That's sweet. And I'm glad too. I'm glad to know that that's something I can look forward to, because there will be a new Godzilla movie before too long. The last two did good numbers, so
yeah. Wait, I want to play. Forever. I would love to place a quick little bet with y'all. How long do you think it'll be until we tape our next episode? I know we technically have control of this, but...
I'm going to choose to be optimistic. I'm going to say sometime next year. I also wanted to quickly celebrate the last time. I'm going to take a tally on our download stats. Unfortunately, we did not cross the 100,000 line, which I was really hoping for. It's like 92K. It's like 92,300 or something like that. But I'll take it. Yeah, I'm proud of that.
That's such a large number.
Wait, and that's downloads?
Yeah, that's individual downloads. So as far as the podcast provider could ascertain, that's the number of times an episode was downloaded by a unique person.
I don't download most podcasts I listen to unless I'm getting on an airplane. So is that what that's? I'm gonna say it's 100,000, right? Just take it. All
right.
I work. You know what I mean? My day job's in media.
We'll round it up.
Yeah.
We made it to 100K. And I want to thank a whole bunch of people who helped us over the years, starting with our guests: Ed Baker, Sandra Chang, Will Levenger, Charlotte Spangler, Matthew Charles, Greg Jones, Melinda West, Todd G. Levin, not even, Marcus Meller, Mackenzie Marlowe, my sister Lauren, my mom, my dad, Ed Atlin, Kat Belenfante, So Says Jarvis, Carter Moon, Ed Nelson Tracy, Jasper Birnbaum, Max Morris, Up From the Depths, Jess Morse, Brian Sacropani, Fiona Collinson, Natalie Moran, Jordan Allen, Zach Bush, Jasper Anderson, Sophie Desmond, Matt Frank, Nicole Jordan Weber, Mary Jo Peel, Joanna's brother Rob, and last but not least, Proud.
Woo! Woo! My brother Rob. Getting all of them. That's crazy. Wow, we had a lot of guests.
We did. I'm proud that we had a pretty even gender ratio, something I was trying to aim for. Then we have our editors, Zach, Rachel, Dylan, and especially Julia and Brogan, who stuck with us the longest.
Hell yeah. They really did the work.
Yes, thank all of you so much. We really recorded this podcast quite sloppily by professional standards, so it's the editors who cleaned up a lot of our gunk. As I mentioned, every episode we have wonderful art by Cassidy Stone and the incredible music of Robert Mai, who remastered our theme song for free just because he wanted to last year. That was great. I have to thank my family for supporting the show, and I want to thank all the talented, passionate people who made all the movies we talked about over the years. So many great talents, people who wanted something better for the world and put that into these movies. That's what I'm really celebrating. So much of the Godzilla fandom is hung up on toys and power scaling, and I just don't get it. Like, there's so much neglect to just the making of these movies and what they've meant. So I'm glad that we could put more focus back on that.
Yeah, and again, I think some of my favorite parts of any of the episodes were learning more about that and the process, and more about beyond just, who was in front of camera, everything that was going into the making of these.
And most of all, I want to thank you guys. We could not have done it without you listeners. So I wanted to end it here by thanking all of you from the bottom of my heart. We've gotten so many kind, honest messages. We were never the most popular Godzilla podcast, certainly not the most consistent, but we had a good set of people out there who got us, and I'm so grateful for that. So thank you for listening, for contacting us, for commenting, for sharing it with the people in your life. And I want you all to know that you're not alone. I know that sometimes being a geek, especially a Godzilla geek, can feel isolating, and we've gotten a lot of messages to that effect. People who feel that way or felt that way in the past, and my own life includes those experiences for sure. But if you're kind and considerate and you put an effort into finding kindred spirits, you're gonna find them. We talked about Godzilla found his weird little family in the Showa series, and we can all find ours as well. So if Godzillavangelists is a cousin on your family tree way out on the farthest branch, know that even when we're not uploading, we still got your back. We're still evangelizing in our hearts.
Hear, hear. And we got to do one more screonk before it ends, right? Or a roar.
I have this written right here.
Okay,
when you guys say the one more screonk.
You guys, I lost my voice. It's gonna be a rough one, but I'm gonna give it my all, because if there's one thing we and our fans have, even if we're not the most consistent, and even if we're the first or maybe second one with this similar premise, we've got heart. We
have
spirit.
Heart. Where are the bad news bears?
Is this a screonk or is this a... You know what I mean? Is it a screonk?
You know what? we started with the roar impressions. Maybe we should do a roar impression. All right, so we're doing roar impression. What do you guys say to one more roar impression?
All together now.
All right, on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. That was probably one of my weaker ones, but
I think mine was strong. It was pretty metally.
Yeah.
Because of
yeah, you have the basso
Yeah,
profundo.
that was crazy, Joanna. It sounded like Tom Waits was in your apartment.
What's he building in there?
I hear he was on a plane to Cairo.
One more tangent. So you just had to squeeze it in.
Had to do it.
All right, let me rally myself. I gotta put the proper gravitas on.
Okay, all
this.
right. Take it back.
And for long as you may live, take care of yourself, take care of others, and keep following the word of Godzilla, spreading the word of Godzilla, and being the word of Godzilla. Thanks, everybody.